In 2023, the New England Patriots are on a mission to get back to dominating the NFL. However, Bill Belichick and the front office have struggled to put together a roster that can do exactly that. And quite frankly, they need to have a big season. And honestly, if they have another disappointing one, things could really change going forward, not only in terms of Mac Jones being the starting quarterback, but even maybe Bill Belichick being the head coach after this season. However, with that being said, I think they know exactly what they're doing. The Patriots have made a variety of different moves this offseason to ensure their improvements going into 2023. Now, including moves to make their offense better, and we all know that New England has one of the better defenses in the entirety of the NFL, and, obviously have some of the most versatile defenders in the league. Now, that wasn't their problem last season. The offense was. The team did whatever they could do to help out Mac Jones, and they did exactly that. In this video, I'll be breaking down everything you need to know going into the start of the season, but more importantly, why the Patriots can absolutely shock the world next season and potentially even go on a playoff run once again. However, before we jump into the video, I need you guys to do me a huge favor and smash that like button if you haven't already done so. Not only does that help me out, but it helps out the channel and the video so much. So let's even get the video up to 200 likes. Also, subscribe to the channel if you're new. I will be covering the Patriots all off season long. I'm going to be streaming every single Patriots game for the rest of the season. Every single Sunday or whenever they play, I got you guys covered. I will be live for those games going forward, so make sure you guys turn on post notifications. And lastly, if you guys play fantasy football but hate being stressed about roster management and starting and sitting players and going through the waiver wire, you don't have to do that anymore. Check out Underdog Fantasy. All you have to do is draft a team on Best Ball, and they do everything else for you. They'll start your best players every single week. It's called Best Ball for a reason. So go check that out. Link in the description. Use my promo code and they'll double your first deposit. But without any further ado, let's jump into today's video. Now, Bill Belichick might not necessarily be on the hot seat right now, but things need to change as soon as possible. Now, everyone in the organization knew they, couldn't have another sluggish offensive season once again. Even with how bad the offense was last year, Belichick actually stood strong and said, you know what, let's ride out with Mac Jones. We believe in him. We think he can take that step up, and we think he can be a better player. Now, obviously, they wanted to have a competition between him and Bailey Zappi. They also brought in Trace McSorley and Malik Cunningham. And as we all know, none of those guys really panned out. Bailey Zappi was horrific throughout the entirety of the preseason. Malik Cunningham showed, flashes of being a very versatile type of scrambling quarterback. However, didn't show much in the passing game. And then Trace McSorley just didn't get too much playing time, which led them to claim Matt Corral, former relatively high draft pick from the Panthers. And now he's the backup quarterback, kind of competing with Bailey Zappi over the next few weeks to see who wins that job. But either way, Bill Belichick knew that Mac Jones was going to be the starter from day one. Last season, Mac Jones threw for under 3,000 yards, 14 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. Clearly not a great season. And honestly, it seemed like he actually took a step back from 2021 in terms of touchdown to interception ratio. But, obviously we have to acknowledge that the offensive scheme was horrendous. And whoever allowed Matt Patricia to be the offensive coordinator was tripping. I 100% believe that Bill O'Brien will find a sense of consistency in terms of Mac Jones. And I think you'll find a consistency in terms of this offense overall. I feel like we just need a good scheme. We need something that works, and hopefully Bill O'Brien can really help that out. Throughout the preseason, again, we saw some flashes, especially when Mac Jones was on the field. There were some good things, there were some bad things, but I'm hoping that Bill O'Brien can, change the culture of this team. Now, last season, you can't get much worse. New England ranked number 26 in yards per game, number 27 in third down conversion percentage, number 32 in red zone scoring, number 24 in rush yards per game, number 20 in pass yards per game, and number 19 in sack percentage. Obviously, not good at all. However, the front office did a great job adding to this group and making sure these numbers would improve. The Patriots added Juju Smith-Schuster, Mike Gesicki, Ezekiel Elliott, Matt Corral, Tyrone Wheatley, Riley Reif, and multiple other offensive players, including a ton of offensive linemen throughout the entirety of the NFL draft. Now, it is fair to say that the Patriots and Mac Jones have more reliable weapons on the roster this season, but there's still so much work to do and not too much time to get it done. The offensive line looked pretty terrible throughout all preseason, and it seemed like there was no growth at all from game 1 to game 3. Also, we have to take into account that the Patriots rested a ton of players throughout those games, and primarily we got to see a lot of the younger guys. So what I will say from the preseason is if we have any injuries, I think that things could get very ugly going forward. I mean, when you just look at, City So, Jake Andrews, Antonio Mafi, Calvin Anderson, Vidarian Lowe, some of these guys, I mean, Vidarian Lowe we just got, but some of those guys just played horribly throughout the preseason. And I know they're rookies, I know they're young, but they need to be better than that. Now, I think that Tyron Wheatley is a guy who is going to be a huge pickup at left tackle. New England traded Pierre Strong, the running back, for Wheatley, and honestly, I think it was a huge upgrade. Although he didn't come in and he's probably not going to be a day one starter, I believe he adds A-plus depth and more potential for our offensive line. Personally, I believe this Patriots offensive line has insane potential. I think when you look at Trent Brown and Cole Strange and David Andrews and, Michael Onwenu, I feel like those guys are really good, but they need to put it together. They need to come together as a group and really need to build some chemistry, because I do think that they can be one of the best offensive lines in the league. On paper, they have really good talent. They just need to put it together as a team. And if they do put it together, that alone will make the Patriots once again great. Not to mention, Bill added Juju Smith-Schuster, who might not be an alpha wide receiver one, but man, he can play. Juju's coming off a Super Bowl winning season where he put up over 900 yards, just shy of 1,000 on 78 catches, and just had one of his best seasons since 2018. Now, Mike Gesicki, another brand new tight end, a vertical threat who came over here from Miami. Jonnu Smith was a guy who we signed a couple of years back, didn't end up working out. He's over in Atlanta now, opening up a hole at backup tight end. And, Bill Belichick loves to run that two tight end set. Mike Gesicki is going to come in here. He should be an immediate impactful player and add a kind of a new dynamic to this offense that we haven't seen in a while. But now we have two very reliable pass-catching tight ends who, aren't terrible in the run game in terms of blocking, but I think they will help out. Now, lastly, I want to talk about Zeke. The Patriots were struggling to find, a backup running back since they lost Damian Harris this offseason. They tried James Robinson. It failed. They tried the young guys like Kevin Harris and Pierre Strong and J.J. Taylor. Didn't work to their, to the best of its, to the best it could have. Zeke has experienced a lot in this league. He's still playing with the chip on his shoulder, and he won't be asked to carry a huge workload on this offense, but he will be a solid option to spell Ramondre, come in the red zone, give you some big yards. He can pass protect, so I think he's a guy who's going to play a lot in terms of that as well. So I do think Ezekiel Elliott is a nice little pickup here. I know he's getting up there in age. I know the Dallas Cowboys didn't want to pay him, but overall I do think he is a solid player. And if Mac Jones can just take a little bit of a step back in the right direction, I really do think this team could shock the world. Now listen, I know, and I have to bring up the defense, or I haven't brought up the defense for a reason, and that's just because the defense is always so good. Bill Belichick does a great job setting up a defense, and I have no doubt in my mind it will be great once again this season. Last season, they ranked number 8 in yards allowed per game, number 5 in opposing completion percentage, number 2 in sack percentage, number 5 in interception percentage, number 7 in rush yards allowed per game, number 1 in rush touchdowns allowed per game. This defense will be great again. I mean, when you look at the depth chart right now, Dietrich Wise getting up there. You got Keon White, who looked really, really fast coming off the edge in preseason. Devon Godchar. You got Matthew Judon, Josh Uche, Christian Barmore. I mean, these guys look good in the front four. And then you look at the linebacking group. Juwan Bentley, Mac Wilson, Jelani Tavai, Marte Mapu, who has versatility to play in the secondary as well. And then you go to the secondary. Chris Gonzalez, the first-round pick, looks amazing. Jack Jones, Jonathan Jones, Marcus Jones, Sean Wade. I mean, Jabril Peppers, Kyle Duggar, Adrian Phillips, Jalen Mills. This defense is deep. They have a lot of guys who can come in, play multiple different positions, and a lot of guys that can come off the bench and just help keep guys well rested and, not out of stamina. So I do think that this depth in this team, this defense is going to be absolutely massive next season. And if, like I said, Mac Jones can step up and this offensive line can find a sense of consistency, I really do think that this team has what it takes to go far in the playoffs, or at least just make the playoffs. And I know it's such a tough division with the Bills and the Dolphins and the Jets, who just got Aaron Rodgers, but I do think with Bill Belichick and this defense, I do think they can go a far way. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, join the family, turn on post notifications. And with that being said, I'll see you in the next video. Peace. Today's video is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. And if you love playing fantasy sports like football, basketball, baseball, and so many other sports, but also love being able to win money, you're going to want to stick around for this whole segment. Introducing Underdog Fantasy, the ultimate platform for fantasy sports lovers. Do you want to experience the thrill of drafting your team and competing for huge prizes? Well, look no further. With Underdog Fantasy, you get access to a wide range of fantasy sports, including football, basketball, baseball, and so much more. But here's what makes Underdog Fantasy stand out from all of those other apps. They've got quick and user-friendly drafting process, a unique and exciting game formats, fair and competitive contests for all skill levels, and attractive bonuses and promotions. Not only can you draft teams and compete with others, but you can also play a game of higher and lower, which is personally my favorite thing to do on there, but you can potentially win 20 times the money you put down. And if you use code MattyDubs when you sign up, Underdog will match your first deposit up to $100. And what that means is basically when you deposit, let's say $100, they'll give you a free $100 to use and play with. Click the link in the description to get started, or head to the website right now to start dominating the fantasy world. And don't miss out on all the fun. Be a part of the Underdog community starting now. And don't forget, if you use code MattyDubs, they'll match your first deposit up to $100. Let's get started. Get into drafts with me starting today.